What's up, Virgo friends? How's it going? Thank you so much for joining me on my channel, The Intuitive Teacup. I am so thrilled to have you all here with me today. Welcome to the newbies and welcome back to all the subscribers. I really appreciate your likes, shares, and subscribes. Helps me gain traction on this channel. So today we're going to do a fun little read for all the Virgos out there. And this is going to be all about the Scorpio full moon and what needs to be released, right? With all the full moons, there's an element of what needs to be released, but also because it's Scorpio, it's what needs to be transformed. Okay, the Scorpio is card number 13 in the tarot deck, which is death, right? Now we all get freaked out when we hear that, right? But more often than not, it's not a literal death. It has to do with the idea of transforming, about regeneration, about rebirth. Yes, with Scorpio, we have a water sign, right? Water signs are very emotional, emotions, love, very psychic, intuitive signs. But Scorpio, of all the water signs, they have a great depth, a great well of emotions, but it's frequently not always expressed. It tends to be kept more under the cover, behind closed doors, so to say, which is very interesting, kind of the opposite of Cancer and Pisces, who are more apt to, especially Pisces, more apt to wear their emotions on their sleeves, right? So Scorpio does have a reputation of being a little bit secretive, right? So I think with the Scorpio full moon, there is going to be a need to understand the emotions going on within all of us, whatever sign you are, whatever zodiac sign, and what you choose to do with it, right? Choosing to take power, to take action over those emotions, over what you're feeling, and doing good things with that energy. Scorpio also rules the house of sex, right? So there is something about coming into your if it's just confidence or sexual confidence, your sexual power, your pride, your sexuality, and using that in a good way, you know. There's a part of that is going to be tied to, you know, these very extreme, powerful emotions, but it might also just be like going out and strutting your stuff, putting on that outfit that makes you feel really sexy and powerful, and just yeah, kind of parading around the world knowing that, yeah, you are a badass, right? Even that is very Scorpionic energy. So anyway, I've been rambling a bit, but this Scorpio full moon is going to be interesting. Now we are in Taurus, which is another earth sign, Virgo, so there will be grounding in that sense, but yeah, it's earth and water, okay? So it's the tangible and then the feelings. So with this Scorpio full moon, we're going to see what needs to be transformed, right? Just like the metaphor of the caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly, that is what death is in the tarot. It's transformation. What needs to change in your life, Virgo? That's what we are going to focus on in this tarot spread here today. Oops, you got poppers already. So I will say, this is a general message, as are all the tarot readings on this channel. So not everything I say is going to resonate with all the Virgos out there. So please only take away messages for your best and highest good. You will know what that is intuitively, right? That being said, do check your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs for additional messages. If you don't know how to do that, there will be a link in the description box below. In addition to that, there's going to be all the other information you're going to want to know, like the decks I'm using, how to check out the social media channels, etc. Cross-watchers are always welcome. And do feel free to swap around the characters in the story that comes up if you're, especially if you're cross-watching. Sometimes what I'm saying may resonate more with you or more with what your person is emoting, things of that nature. So, all right. So you've got cards coming out. I love that. We'll take one more for Virgo during this Scorpio full moon. What are messages for their best and highest good? All right, cool. Let's do it. So the U section is the 5 of hazards. We are using the zombie tarot, which seemed very appropriate for the Scorpio full moon. Death, rebirth, right? So the 5 of hazards in this deck is the 5 of pentacles. So it does talk about a test of faith, a difficult or trying time, metaphorically, you know, being left out in the cold, having to trudge through the snow in bare feet. For you, Virgo, I'm getting that you're having to clean up other people's messes, and it's just not fair. I'm hearing somebody saying that. It's like, yeah, somebody left you with all the bullshit, all of the crap to clean up. Now, this could be something very simple if it's just you know, you're maybe living with a partner or, I don't know, a roommate or a friend or whatever, and you know they're the messy one, and they're literally leaving you the mess to clean up. But it could also be in a lot of sense. Maybe you're picking up the slack at work. Maybe you're getting over a bad relationship and your partner is still kind of lingering on in your life, or you're having to, I don't know, pay their bill, or there's some sort of connection to something or someone, and you're getting like the short end of the stick, Virgo, and you're kind of pissed about it, and rightfully so. But yeah, it's like there's no reward in this task, at least not the way that you're seeing it at the moment. We'll see what comes up, but yeah, I think you're feeling kind of isolated. You may be feeling like somebody left you out in the cold or left you abandoned, but it's a test of your faith. I think you're going through the motions trying to get through this tricky situation. There is an aspect to this, Virgo, where I feel like you have to handle it with gloves. It's a delicate situation. It could be a tricky situation. Maybe you're trying to do the right thing and in very true to your nature, serve. You know, be that kind person, offering the helping hand, doing the work. But I think you're kind of at your wit's end. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ten of Wands came up. It is feeling like this is beyond just a minor inconvenience, like it's a full-on burden. And it's, again, I'm just hearing it's not fair, it's not just. This wasn't your responsibility to have to take care of all this. So let's get a clarifier for this. What is this Five of Hazards about? Now, this could be at work. This could be in the home dynamic. You know, hazards or pentacles in this deck. Sometimes that has to do with the health or the body, but I'm not getting that so much here. Let's see. So you have the Nine of Cups in reverse. So I'll show it to you upright. Scorpio had this card as well. So Nine of Cups talks about wish fulfillment. It's sometimes the dream come true card. But it's things that make us happy. It's emotions, cups, love, happiness. And now it came out in reverse, so that doesn't surprise me given what we were just talking about. But yeah, there's something in here that it's like, yeah, it's tapping an empty well. There's nothing that's going to come out of this situation that is going to bring you happiness or joy. Sort of how I was saying, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no reward for all the work and effort you're putting in it, and you know it. If it's in a workplace environment, it's like somebody up and quit, and there was no one else to pick up the slack, and so it naturally fell on you. But you're not getting a raise, you're not getting a title change. It's like you're waiting until they fill that role so you can pass it off to someone else. But it's like and it might be true, but there's a part of you, Virgo, that feels like you need to keep the wheels in motion, or else the whole, you know, metaphorically, the whole like car is gonna decombust or fall apart. So it's like you're doing this work, but it's almost for nothing. And you know that. There's no joy in it for you. There's no wish fulfillment. It's not putting you on a path that you want to be on. I think you're actually feeling quite resentful, to be honest, which is not typically a Virgo energy, but yeah, so that's sort of the you section of this spread. Let's move on and see what needs to be transformed here. I will say I haven't been doing bottom of the deck cards for most of them, but yours is the Magician in reverse. So that can, in the reverse, the Magician can sometimes be a trickster. Tricky energy, someone manipulating the situation. So I do take that to be your person, or whoever's on the receiving end of your work. They're not doing all they can to show you appreciation for your efforts, to reward you, to even just acknowledge, to thank you. Yeah, the opposite end of this energy, I'm just going to be honest, it's not great. It's not great. Now, the Magician card, I believe, is Gemini, and it might be Virgo. Sorry, there's two signs associated with the Magician. I'm certain one is Gemini, but who's the other one? I do want to say it's Virgo, but don't quote me on that. So, again, if this is feeling... You relate to what you relate to, right? You don't need to force it to fit your situation, is where I was going with that. Anyway, what needs to be released from Virgo's situation during the Scorpio full moon? The Five of Swords. Okay, Cancer had this card, if you're dealing with a Cancer. So it's petty conflict. Swords, it's trickery of the mind. Again, kind of like bullshit trickery head games with the Magician in reverse. I did just see your card, Virgo. You have the Hermit under that. I have to show you. This deck is so great. All the zombie stuff. That's the Hermit. Anyway, focus. Let's stay focused. Five of Swords is petty conflict. Because it's swords, it speaks of the mind, air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Could be dealing with a Gemini. But yeah, it's like you're trying to win the battle, but you're not going to win the war. That's exactly what this is. It's like you're picking up the pieces because you have to, because your only other choice is what? To just leave it there so nobody's doing the work. It's like you were too good of a person to just drop this and be like, not my problem. But I'm curious to see what your guidance is going to be, because ultimately your work and efforts, at least in the moment, are not being recognized, or yeah, there's just nothing in it for you. So yeah, this internal conflict, it might be you. I think you, like I said, I think you're extremely frustrated, maybe a little bit resentful and bitter. And it's because somebody's put you in this tricky situation, and maybe you are literally like stuck, like you have no choice but to deal with this kind of BS. And I don't know specifically what that's going to be for all of you, but I know you're not enjoying it. I can just sense that. And it may be that multiple people are depending on you, Virgo, and you just want it to be over. And I do think it's funny, I don't know if you need the recognition, but I think if this goes on too much longer, you're going to reach your boiling point where you literally just snap and you kind of lose it. And especially if this is in a working environment, I would just be careful, right? Because it could be that the people around you, if it's one person, I do think they know. I think they're a little bit shysty. Sorry, don't mean to offend, but I'm just being honest. If it's multiple people you're picking up the slack for, I don't know if they know, which sounds kind of dumb, but they might be dumb. Like, do you know what I'm saying? They might not realize that you actually have been slapped with a lot more work recently. And so in that case, there is a need to stand up for yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the pride factor of I need recognition, I need a round of applause for this. Because quite frankly, Virgo, I don't think that's what you want. I think you just want this to end. I think you want to be released of this burden. But instead, it's like you're in the thick of just like mental head games is what I'm getting. But it's just exhausting. It's exhausting, Virgo. It's being clarified by the Knight of Wands. Okay. So nights bring movement in and out of our life. It's change, it's movement, it's forward movement, right? In reverse, it's not moving forward. It could be the opposite. It could be like you're sinking deeper and deeper into this. It could be resentment, but also just this work, this burden, this workload. Knight of Wands, it's passion, it's fun, it's creativity, it's the card of Sagittarius. It can be artistic endeavors, and if this knight goes because they're drawn, their heart calls them to go to the fire, right? To that light, to that passion. Do you see how dark this card is? She's in like a black corset. It's very dark and gothic, right? There's something kind of seedy and it's just not light. It's not good energy. It's darker energy. You could be dealing with a fire sign as well. The Five of Swords, typically it's depicted as someone carrying the swords, and they've stolen swords or whatever from the people behind them who were left very sad and crying and holding their head in their hands. The person in the foreground is looking back, and there's a small tinge of, did I do the right thing? Did I fuck up? Should I leave them behind? That's sort of the energy I'm getting from this depiction. Do you see how she's looking back? I think that's your person. So again, you might be dealing with a fire sign. Might be. But you're not moving forward, and you're certainly not enjoying it. There's no passion in this at all. Ugh. So I mean, what needs to be released is the conflict. I think whatever this is for you, Virgo, there needs to be some sort of conversation about it. Swords are also the idea of knowledge, of communication. It can be conversations, right? And wands can do with career too. So yeah, it's like this isn't getting you anywhere. It's not progressing or moving your career forward. If it's a relationship, it's not sparking any sort of love or passion in the relationship anymore. It's like you wake up every day and you just start fighting. It's no good. It's no good. You're definitely picking up the slack of someone or multiple people in your life. And yeah, there's just no payoff for it. So your advice or guidance is Hangman in reverse. So that makes sense too. In the upright, it's self-imposed rest. It's getting a new perspective of the world around you. So basically, so you can problem solve, so you can transform. After card number 12, the Hangman is card number 13, which is death. It is the transformation we're looking for. So it's almost like you've been in Hangman mode, only you haven't been resting. You've been in Hangman mode, you've been waiting, but you've been doing all the work. There's been no rest or relaxation, or you haven't had 2 seconds to breathe and think about how to even get yourself out of this hole, which I don't think most of you got yourself into to begin with. I do sense that there was another person involved in some capacity. The Hangman, unlike Hermit mode, which is your card, Virgo, Hermit mode talks about seeking answers internally from within. Hangman is seeking the answers, the solutions, externally. He's looking at the world around him. He's literally upside down to look at things differently, to gain a new perspective. And as you can see, like, there's people shouting at him from the windows. There's people down below. There are answers. There's communication, opportunities, or avenues to speak with people all around. Do you choose to communicate these feelings, these crappy feelings, this frustration, this feeling of being left out in the cold, of being burned, of... Again, there's a hot-cold dynamic. It's like you're left out in the cold and your person is the one who burned you with the fire. It's very interesting. But Hangman in reverse, it's like, come out of it. You don't need to be waiting for things to change on your own. You might need to make this change happen. See it for what it really is. Because, you know, if you're not in Hangman mode, you're upright like the rest of the world. So I'm almost getting this as stand up for yourself. Yeah, it's like you don't have to be the hero, Virgo. You've already done way more than your responsibility, than your share of the work. You've already put so much effort in. You don't need to be and that does make sense for you, Virgo. You may feel guilty about just throwing your hands up in the air like, well, I'm done with it, because that's not something you would traditionally do. But your advice or guidance is saying whatever situation you're in, you're going to be stuck in Hangman mode much longer. You need to shake it up and transform, move on to the next level. And I noted this on somebody else. It may have been Pisces who had this card, and this is a Pisces card, by the way, if you're dealing with a Pisces. I'm not getting that hugely here, but he's not hanging from the tree limb, right? In the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, he's got his foot kind of nudged in between like some tree limbs or bark or whatever. Self-imposed rest. Here it's literally a noose, right? It's killing him. Whatever this is, you're not enjoying it. It's like a metaphorical death. So yeah, I would say take some sort of action, because if you're keeping all this internal, and I think you might be, like I said, I don't think you're voicing the frustrations, it's time to do that. There are all these people calling out to you from the balcony, from the window, or if they're not calling out to you, you could be calling out to them like, hey, kind of stuck here, need some help, that kind of thing. But it's like self-advocate. That's what this card is saying, Virgo, okay? Self-advocate. All right, so we are going to pull an oracle card for you beautiful Virgos. We're doing this a little bit differently, though. I'm going to pull the card and show it to you here, then we're going to talk about it on Instagram. I am trying to drive some traffic over to the social media channels, so check me out on Instagram and Facebook. I am the Intuitive Teacup. And if you're not into social media, that's fine. I hope this was enough guidance or clarity or gave you some sort of insight for today. I will see you next week for some more tarot spreads on love as well as career and finances. But yeah, if you're interested, join me over on Instagram and we will talk about your oracle card. And last but not least, please, please, please do like, share, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It helps me gain traction on this channel so that I can keep delivering these messages out into the world for people who need to see them and for people who want to see them, okay? All right, so for Virgo, you have lightning. Oh, I love it. This is such a great card. All right, cool. So the Intuitive Teacup over on Instagram, we are going to talk about lightning for Virgo. All right, thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.